INTPs are known as the most intelligent personality of the Myers-Briggs types, and making up only 3% of the population, they are also one of the rarest. INTPs are often thought of as innovators, and that's not surprising when you consider famous INTPs like Albert Einstein, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Socrates. What makes INTPs so unique is their combination of 4 dimensions. 1. Introversion. This means that INTPs prefer time alone to time with others. 2. Intuitive. This indicates that INTPs gravitate towards ideas instead of facts. 3. Thinking. This refers to how INTPs make decisions. This type comes to a conclusion based on logic, not feeling. 4. Perceiving. While some personality types are organized and rigid, this type is spontaneous and flexible. Now that we know a little bit about INTPs, we're going to look at the 6 clear signs that you're a true INTP. Sign number 1. You dislike authority. If growing up you were the kid in class always questioning your teachers, it might be because you're an INTP. INTPs dislike authority and hierarchical structures because they feel that respect should be earned through merit, not status. In other words, you don't believe that just because someone has a certain title that they should be perceived as being better than others, or that they're more worthy of your attention. Let's say, for instance, that every time you go to your local coffee shop, you have engaging, interesting conversations with the barista there. But whenever you go to work, you find yourself bored and unmotivated by your boss. In this situation, you probably feel more respect towards your barista than towards your boss, because in your mind, they're providing more value to the world. You don't care that your boss technically has a higher title than the barista. To you, someone's character speaks louder than words next to someone's name. Because of this attitude towards titles, you probably also don't care what titles others give you. As an INTP, you don't care whether you're labeled the head of a company or the lowest person on the totem pole. What actually matters to you is how you view yourself, what you're doing, and the value you provide. Sign number 2. You don't open up to many people. INTPs are notoriously solitary. You likely prefer to spend time alone with your thoughts rather than out socializing with others. And as an introverted type, you actually need this. This is because introverts are drained by being around others for too long, so they require time alone to recharge their batteries. Being introverted, however, doesn't just mean that you prefer spending time alone. It also means that you have a hard time opening up to others. This is because it can take a lot for you to confide in others, and as we mentioned before, you don't always trust your emotions and sharing them with others. But there's another reason that INTPs are hesitant to open up to others that's not as well known. This reason is that you're frequently misunderstood as an INTP because you tend to think outside of the box and go against the status quo. Your knowledge that you might be misunderstood then causes you to stay more closed off to others. It's not that you're afraid of what others might think or that you're afraid that they'll judge you. Instead, you know that it might end up being a waste of time if you open up to others and reveal your true thoughts because they might not get you. Sign number 3. You love breaking things apart. By breaking things apart, we don't mean that you like to physically tear items apart. What we're referring to is the fact that INTPs like to dissect and break down theories or ideas. This is because you have a natural inclination to question things. You don't just blindly accept a theory or idea simply because someone tells you it's correct, even if that person is an expert in what they're talking about. And as we just mentioned, INTPs enjoy problem solving and detecting inconsistencies. So if you sense that something is off with what someone's telling you, you'll likely want to figure it out. But even if you don't sense that something is off with an idea, you probably want to break it down simply to understand it better because you like the problem-solving nature of it. And as someone who likes to think outside of the box, if you sense that there might be a different way a theory or idea can be explained, you'll be determined to figure out what that is. While there are benefits to being eager and able to break down ideas, you probably also know that it can get you into trouble. As an INTP, you've probably had the experience of upsetting people in the past when you questioned or poked holes in their ideas. And while you don't want to make someone upset or irritated with you, the benefit of pointing out logic or even coming up with a better solution is more important to you than keeping the peace with others. Sign number 4, you think emotions can be a waste of time. While other Myers-Briggs personality types place deep value on their emotions and those of others, as an INTP, you are not one of those types. Although you can see the value in some emotions, overall you think that they can be a waste of time as you believe that they get in the way of other more important things that require rational thought. Instead of emotions, you value logic. This is due to the fact that your third dimension, which controls how you approach decision making, is a thinking trait rather than a feeling trait. Those who have a T, or thinking, tend to make decisions through logic and reasoning. Because of your thinking trait, you believe that decisions should be made with your head, not your heart. You also think that decisions can be clouded by too much emotion because emotion can manipulate your ability to think through something clearly. Furthermore, you likely try to avoid emotions if they're not directly involved in a decision-making process. INTPs have the stereotype of being scared of emotions, and this can often be the case, as you view emotions as directly undermining your core ability to be logical. Number 5, you're a human lie detector. Can you tell if someone's lying to you, even when others can't? If so, this might be an indicator that you're an INTP. INTPs are great at detecting lies. This is the case for 2 reasons. For one, as an INTP, you're great at picking out inconsistencies. This is largely due to what's called your extroverted intuition function, which explains how you take in and process information. This function gives you an ability to see patterns and form connections, and by the same token, tell if something just isn't adding up. The second reason you're great at detecting lies is that you simply enjoy problem solving. When another great personality type gets an inkling that something is off, they might not care enough to question it or investigate it further. But an INTP wants to find out the truth about everything. So if they can tell that something is fishy, they'll want to find out what's going on. Despite what it might seem, however, as an INTP, you probably aren't just going around in the world calling out others on their lies. Instead, INTPs often use their ability to sniff out the truth and detect inconsistencies for good. If you're an INTP, you may have found yourself drawn to subjects in school like science or math, and as an adult, you may be in a career path that allows you to exercise these strengths. Sign number 6, you despise routine. While other personality types find comfort in routines, INTPs do not. In fact, INTPs avoid routines because they don't like being tied to one way of doing something. If you're an INTP, your mind is fixated on possibilities in the world around you, and to you, routine is the antithesis to this. You might abhor routine so much that you mix things up on purpose just to stay inspired. For instance, you might intentionally go to bed and wake up at different times, or eat widely different food from day to day just to experience life's possibilities. Even something as small as making the same cup of coffee every morning can seem off-putting to you. Often, you find that mixing up simple things on a day-to-day basis will allow you to see the possibilities in more profound things as well. Your dislike of routine can be tricky for you to navigate, however, when much of life is built upon it. Going to school and work at the same time can seem mindlessly boring to you, but at the same time, you understand that routine can be necessary in order to meet certain goals, like graduate from school or do a good job at work. You might find yourself trying to write out a routine to follow, but experience difficulty in sticking to it. For you, the balance between following a routine and maintaining inspiration can feel like an endless battle. Did you know that INTPs have a secret dark side? Watch this video to learn about that.